Hi everyone. I wanted to do an update on why I started the page in the first place, which is obviously functional neurological disorder. I realise I've been quite quiet on here about that for a while. For the past 8 months I've been having treatment for something else, and that's just been at the forefront of my mind. Sometimes I've been having up to 3 appointments a week for it, so it's taken quite a lot of my time. But obviously FND is still very much part of my everyday life. So just to do a little recap, in August 2024, nearly 2 years ago, I woke up in a lot of pain and I couldn't move my legs or feel them, and I couldn't move my arms. My arms came back that day, and so did my right leg after a little while, but my left leg never did. I've got the movement back in it now, and I've got the feeling in the thigh, so just from the knee down I have no feeling, which I don't mind as long as it's able to move. There was a whole issue, I guess, when I was in hospital. I did end up putting a complaint in because I feel I was mistreated by one of the consultants, and then I didn't get the help that I needed and that was originally offered when I came home. And I had to fight, or we all had to fight again to get the right help. To begin with, I went through occupational therapy, who came out to the house and they gave me a SARA steady so I could practice my standing. And they come out once, sometimes twice a week to help me practice the standing on the SARA steady. And then I was referred to community neuro rehab, and they started coming out to the house as well twice a week. And then eventually I was able to go to the rehab centre. I think that was also twice a week, to have an hour-long session of neuro physio. I learnt, I guess the main thing I learnt was distraction techniques. They would get me listing countries, or like doing maths and stuff. Geography and maths, like my 2 worst subjects, but it was enough for me to concentrate on that and try and get the movement flowing a little bit easier. And then they found actually music was really helpful for me, so I created a playlist, and then I would just sing for the whole hour, sing and do my exercises and walk. And it started obviously getting better and better. My leg was moving, and then they came out to the house again after I'd finished the sessions at the centre, just to see how I was getting on indoors and if I was still moving around okay here. They helped me prepare like vegetables just to make sure that I could do it safely. They got me a stool for the kitchen as well, so that I can sit down there. And then they just made sure I was getting around okay. And it was quite an emotional time when they left. Even like they hugged us as well, because it was a big thing that they managed to get me back on my feet again. And also by that point in October 2024, Dean had proposed, so I had a very good goal in mind to obviously try and be able to walk down the aisle and be up on my feet on our wedding day. I also last year was doing online appointments in group therapy group sort of discussions and appointments for pain management. And that was also incredibly useful because it helped me learn how to pace things. Pace it, don't race it was one of the things that they would say all the time. And it kind of gave me the permission to be able to rest when I needed to rest. Like I could push myself quite far sometimes, but they were like, you have to rest, like do an activity and then make sure you rest. And just the acknowledgement from them that the pain we were all feeling was very real. And being able to talk to these other women was so beneficial for me, and I hope for all of us. So that was also very helpful. And one of my goals there was to walk outside on my own a little bit. So now I meet mum on our road some days if I'm feeling okay enough. So I'll walk maybe 5 minutes tops on my own just down the road, which is very scary to begin with, but I'm getting used to it. And obviously I was on my feet for our wedding day, so I took my chair. I sat down when I needed to, but yeah, I got to walk down the aisle and do our first dance. Obviously there are bad days, bad weeks. I guess they happen now and we don't panic. It's been 7 years since I was diagnosed. I think 2019. I think so. So yeah, we don't panic so much unless there's a lot of pain involved like there was in 2024. But now we just adapt, I guess, and adapt, use what I have learned in physio, use what I've learned at pain management, use what I've learned through the treatment that I'm also receiving at the moment, just to get through the bad days one day at a time. For example, when me and Dean were in Disney for our honeymoon, I got off of a ride and I noticed that, I think I noticed that people were looking at me a little bit more than they had been. Obviously, sometimes people look at you because you're a younger person using a walker or a wheelchair, and that sometimes draws attention. But I'd put my ear defenders on because it was incredibly loud that day, and I thought that's why people were looking at me, until Dean said, like, do you need to stop? Something's going on with your leg. And like, I looked down and my left foot was turned right inwards. So we took some breaks, but I was like, I can keep moving. Like, it's still, I have no feeling in it anyway. Nothing's hurting. It made it quite awkward to walk because eventually my leg just went dead straight as well. But we kept going, and I think that was just a moment where we both saw what was going on and then just adapted to it. Like, we took more breaks. We didn't go on as much stuff at that point. And it does make it a lot more difficult. And then I have to obviously rely on Dean a lot more at that point. But we manage. I guess we just get on with it now. It's just part of life. And of course, the seizures are still there. Like, I don't imagine they're ever going to go away, but they are much less frequent. Like, when I first started having them, they were up to 30 a day. And now, usually probably about 2 a week. I always find it hard when people ask you, like healthcare professionals, when they say, like, how many seizures you have in a week, and it's just different. Like, I never know how many seizures obviously you're going to have in a week, but there's no set number. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, I have 5 per week and that's it. It depends on the week. It depends how much pain I'm in. It depends if I'm feeling stressed or how busy I've been, if I'm tired. You know, there's all these different factors that come into why the seizures do happen. But the point is, they're more manageable now than they used to be. Yay, that's a win. And I know I was kind of keeping you updated on the urology side of it as well, where I retain, so have to self-catheterize. And at one point they were looking at fitting a suprapubic catheter, but for reasons that I'm not going to go into at the moment, I wasn't able to have it fitted at that time because I wasn't well enough. I spoke to a nurse in London who mentioned the neurostimulator, which the urologist consultant had also mentioned as well, was another option. And I think that might be the better option for me in the future. And again, at that point, I needed to wait because it just wasn't okay enough to sort of be considered to have it fitted. I think it's like they say it's like a pacemaker device that is put on your sacral nerve, and then it sends little shocks to your bladder to remind you to empty. So they put one in for a month, like a trial one, and then they put one in that I think they said lasts 5 years, or even some of them might now last 10 years. But yeah, so that's something that is hopefully coming up in the future. Yeah, but I'll keep you updated on that when that does happen. I think I talked to my urologist again in November now, because the appointment keeps getting pushed back. But it will happen. The phone call will happen anyway, and then I can say what's actually going to happen next. And I guess the fatigue is another side of it that can hit really strongly and very suddenly. It often, I'm finding at the moment, coincides with my vertigo and my headaches. When one of those is around a little bit more, the fatigue can suddenly hit or I'll hit like about 3 o'clock, and then I'll be like, I need to lay down, and I lay down and I just can't keep my eyes open. Like, I don't fall asleep for the rest of the day, but just like an hour or something, because I just feel impossible to stay awake. But that's not happening as often, I guess, as it used to. I guess because I'm doing the whole pace it, don't race it, and trying to manage all these different symptoms and problems in one go. Yeah, trying not to let things overwhelm. It's just a symptom that gets in the way of activity sometimes. In regards to what aids I use as well at the moment, I mainly rely on my Delta, my walking frame. I don't know why I call it Delta. I always thought it was called that, but I think I've just along the way made that up. I use my electric chair if I'm going further afield, like when we are having to go to London and stuff, because that's too tiring. And then I have my self-propelled wheelchair as well for, say, if we're going to like my mum's for gatherings or something, I might take my self-propelled wheelchair there just in case things happen, because sometimes they do there and then I'm not able to walk back. So we take that as a backup, or she has one there that I can use to come home, and then I can use my self-propelled one around the house as well when I need to. And mainly furniture surf, furniture walk, whatever you want to call it, around the house, you know, because there's quite a few times throughout the week where my leg will just give way unexpectedly. Like, there is absolutely no warning, it will just go, and I try my best to catch myself. Most of the time I do, but sometimes I hit the deck. Luckily we've got fairly soft flooring. So yeah, that is the update really. Obviously there's a lot that has happened and gone on. There's probably things I've also forgotten, but I think that's the majority. I've been talking probably longer than I intended to, so I'm sorry if you're bored, but well done for making it to this end if you got this far. So that's just the FND side. As I said, there's other stuff going on, but FND's just life, but like part of my life now. And I think myself, my husband, my family, my friends, everyone's kind of, we've all just accepted that that is there, and we all cope and we all manage. So thank you for watching. I will eventually be doing videos on the other thing I'm going through, because I do feel it's important for awareness for this too, but that's just going to be coming in the time when I'm comfortable to do that. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you're all well. Please let me know how you're getting on, and I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.